Nate Pearson should not have been in this game. I will take that to my grave. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Welcome into the Setup Man post-game show. You've got me, Kyle Stanley, alongside with Ty Lewin, my co-host, and this is the Setup Man post-game show. Just get ready, guys. We want to hear from you. Ty and I have a lot of stuff. We've literally been watching the last 3 innings of this game, and I wish we would have just gone live during that last 3 innings, Ty, because there was a lot of emotion. But you know what? I really, truly believe there's going to be people in this room that are going to yell at me the way that we were getting yelled at on X. And by the way, I don't know how many people are going to be on here because it is already now midnight over in Chicago. So hopefully we have a lot of people. But I don't think Nate Pearson should have been in this game. We're going to talk about that, but we want to hear from you. So Ty, go ahead. And if you can, drop it in the comments, the link to our show, so people can jump in and they can come in the C block. And we're going to get to all of that. And also just want to let you guys know a couple announcements. Number one, as we've been telling you, this will be my final week for consistently being on all of the post-game shows. I'm going to be doing more breakdowns. I'm going to be trying to get more interviews. And so Ty and Alex and a few other members of our Setup Man crew are going to be taking the reins on the post-game shows, but I will still be on about once a week, maybe twice a week, because it's just fun. I like coming in and doing this with you guys. And second announcement is no show on Easter Sunday. So we want you guys to enjoy that time with your family. And if the Cubs do on Easter Sunday what they did today, I'm not quite sure I'll be able to keep. It's gonna be Kyle sins. It's not gonna be setup sins on that day, or setup blessings or Kyle blessings. It's gonna be a lot of stuff that I don't know, man. I'm just let's just jump into it. Ty, where are you at on this game, man?
Yeah, this was a lot to compartmentalize over the last couple of innings. It's weird how this game felt so similar but so different at the same time to April 8th of 2024, where the Cubs opened up in San Diego. We're up 8-0 in the 6th inning and ended up losing 9-8. These are feelings that I have that I felt last year, very lost, very confused. At the same time, wondering this team just won 2 out of 3 against the best team in baseball to, again, playing one of the best teams in baseball and feeling similar feelings in this type of situation. And Kyle, thank God we were not live those last 3 innings, because I probably would not have I don't think I'd have a job in my career that I currently do on a day-to-day basis to provide for my family, because that is just how excruciating this game was. And I do want to make a quick statement as well. Yes, there is a lot of finger pointing on Twitter or X. The joke is what do you call it? I'm going to call it Twitter. Yes, there's a lot of finger pointing to the situation, as you alluded to, Kyle, where you talked about should Nate Pearson have been in the game and this and that. There are going to be situations a lot throughout the year that will revolve around a lot of finger pointing. I will say this. I've never been more frustrated in a situation where I felt like a different pitcher should have been in this situation over the man that was on the mound. And I think that if you don't agree with that, you have not watched this team and this guy pitch since the beginning of this season. And I will stand tall with that take. And that's the way that I feel. And I tweeted that I'm pissed. I'm pissed because I felt like we could have won this game based off a decision that was pretty damn easy to make. Yeah. So that's where I'm at, Kyle.
So I want to get to more on that. I want to catch everyone up really quick. So if you didn't get the whole game, we went down 1-0 early on a Jameson Taillon hung curveball to Fernando Tatis. Ended up being a solo home run, but then the Cubs turn it around after a Manny Machado error in the 4th inning. Michael Busch hit a 2-run bomb. Followed in the 4th inning, PCA, man, he's been on fire. Another 3-for-4 game from him. This guy has to get some props. And 108.6 miles an hour off the bat. Double brings in another run to make it 3-1. It was 3-1 until the 6th inning. And then in the 6th inning, Ian Happ watches a ball drop in front of him, kind of in no man's land. That is going to be our one big moment that we're going to talk about in our second segment. But that was really the turning point of the game. And after that, Keller comes, and during that play, that's when Brad Keller had come in. Jamison Tyone had thrown 5 1/3, really, really solid innings. But Keller coming in, that ball drops in front of Ian Happ, leads to another 2 runs. It's 3-3. And then in the 7th inning, you've got, of all the pitchers available, Ty, you've got Ethan Roberts, you've got Eli Morgan, you've got Porter Hodge, you've got Ryan Presley, and then you've got Nate Pearson. In a tie game in the 7th inning, those are your 5 options. Who was the last person on that list that you would want to see in a tie game in a leveraged situation based on what you've seen from those 5 pitchers so far this year?
So I want to provide some information behind the decision that I'm going to make. And there comes 2 sides of this whole decision that I'll make here, whereas there's a statistical part and the numbers and the analytics and all these different things that everybody wants to talk about these days, where you talk about from pitch shape to the way this guy throws in these particular situations and this and that. And then there is the side of things where we have people now that think that you can't just watch the game and see that decisions made by this team are atrocious. And tonight we saw that. So, for example, Nate Pearson, since Arizona, when we had the debacle on March 30th, 5 innings pitched, 7 hits, 2 earned, 3 Ks. No walks, thankfully, but 7 hits. The guy throws over 100 miles per hour and throws a slider in the dirt on every single pitch. Eli Morgan, who's available since Arizona on that debacle that everybody wants to come after him. Okay, I understand. 3 innings pitched, 1 hit, 1 walk, 0 earned, 0 Ks. Okay, so I saw a tweet earlier by our guy named Garrett. Okay, so Garrett is a guy he is amazing on Twitter, by the way. Garrett Sturban, I want to give you a huge shout out, brother. You're always commenting and always engaging with us. I appreciate that. He made a great point where he said, why are we trying to get nasty with the arms here rather than a guy who can get outs? At the end of the day, this game is about getting 27 outs. We need a guy who can get outs. The Padres, for statistical measurement, are the lowest when it comes to strikeouts in the league. So you don't need a guy who's going to strike guys out. We need guys who are going to put the ball in play. I'm telling you right now, Nate Pearson should have never been in this game unless it was the final score at the time he came in when it was 10-3. It should have never been allowed. I don't care what you say about, oh, well, the bullpen usage was this, and this is who was available. Nate Pearson is the worst pitcher in this bullpen by tenfold, and he should be not only in AAA, but in AA. Don't tell me right now that this isn't on Craig Counsell. Don't tell me that. Because
it is.
Okay, well, he had Eli Morgan or Nate Pearson. I do not care. Eli Morgan is 10 times better in this situation based on the situation than Nate Pearson. Do not argue that with me because that is the situation we're in right now. Jacob, I see you in the background right now, brother. I cannot wait to have you on here in a little bit. I promise you it'll be nice because I know you're up late on a school night. But I will tell you this, Nate Pearson should have never been in this game.
And amen to Christian Wilson on this comment here. Felt like we gave up after the 6th. You know why you felt like that, Christian? Because Craig Counsell made that decision. Craig Counsell makes a decision for Nate Pearson to come in. I almost called you Alex. I'm sorry, Ty. Ty and I look at each other as we're watching the game together virtually, and we're like, wait, it's a tie game, right? Why is Nate Pearson in this game? When you have now, granted, I will give myself, I'm not going to give myself the benefit of the doubt. Sorry. I will offer up an apology because when I first tweeted out, you can't convince me that Nate Pearson is the guy. I originally thought to myself, well, Merriweather's available. I actually forgot that Merriweather had pitched in the blowout. It wasn't a blowout at the time when Merriweather came in, but even after looking at it, there's so many different things here that if you know, as Craig Counsell, if you know that all you have in your gun for the night is Keller, Roberts, Morgan, Hodge, Presley, and Pearson, which is still a lot of bullets, even though they threw the kitchen sink at the Dodgers yesterday to get the win. If you know that that's what you've got, then why, and you know that you don't have Julian Merriweather, then why are we pulling Jameson Taillon with 89 pitches? I get it. He just had a long at bat with Manny Machado. And at the time, it probably wasn't a big deal. But that's where I look back and say, well, if you knew you didn't have these guys, why would you pull Jameson Taillon right there? Why wouldn't you say, hey, give him one more at bat, give him one more batter, and let's just see what happens. And if he gets a quick out, then maybe you get another quick out. And then it's, hey, Keller comes in the 7th inning. I just felt like that was a really rushed decision. I felt like the Keller thing was a complete just, hey, you can't really give him too much of crap because that was just a really bad series of events. And then after that, it's any of those guys besides Nate Pearson. Even if you put in Eli Morgan, and this is the thing, a lot of people on Twitter are saying, oh, well, Eli Morgan got shellacked too. But it's still a better decision. I'm not judging the result. I'm judging the decision. And that's where I'm frustrated right now is we had 4 other guys after Keller that should have gone in there before that. And if you even want to get really, okay, let's get really zeroed in here. Ty, let me ask you a question. Man on first in the 6th inning in a 2-run ball game, and you're pulling Jameson Taillon. Do you want Brad Keller coming in there if you're only going to get 2 outs out of him?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
He's one of the most reliable relievers so far this year. Why are we doing that to Brad Keller? Same thing happened yesterday. You pull out Colin Ray. Why are we only going with Brad Keller early on in a game that's winnable? This is a leverage guy. Nate Pearson's not.
It's absolutely the case. And the way that I look at it too is, okay, so Jameson Taillon is not available after his 89th pitch. Okay, so he's gone 18 out of 21 first pitch strikes to his at bats tonight. Okay. So 18 out of 21 at bats. You're telling me right now that your plan is to go Keller and then you want to dip it over to Pearson and Eli Morgan, then hopefully get to Hodge and then Presley. Tell me how that's a formula that you win with.
Well, and this is
seriously. I'm asking you a question. How do you believe in the world that's a formula you can win with?
It's not. And so there's two points on all of this right now. It's, well, he's working with what he's got. Yeah, he's working with what he's got. That's why we hired Craig Counsell, because he works better with winning on the margins. But these decisions show that he doesn't work better with winning on the margins. It's decisions like this that continue to prove that Craig Counsell should not be managing the bullpen the way that he is. I don't know who else manages the bullpen besides Tommy Hotovy coming in and being like, hey, no, I don't think that's the guy tonight. But it's disappointing. I'm not mad, Ty. I'm just disappointed. I continue to be disappointed with these decisions where we just look like, it looks like a decision, going back to Christian's comment, that you're just like, you know what? I'm already thinking about tomorrow's game. The Padres have the best bullpen in baseball. Because we lost the lead and now it's tied up, I don't think we're going to get a run against our bullpen. So maybe we'll get lucky and Nate Pearson will throw a clean inning, and then maybe we'll get lucky and get another run. And then I can throw out Hodge and Presley and maybe we'll steal a win. It's just kind of like this, I'm already thinking about tomorrow sort of mentality. And I don't think that's why we hired Craig Counsell. I thought we hired him because he makes these decisions that help you win in the moment.
Absolutely. And it's felt like this for way too long at this point. And the fact that we have $8 million a year going to this manager, that a lot of people look back on and say this was a decision that was going to change basically the image of this organization moving forward. And I feel like I understand, guys. I see a lot of comments right now. I see where people are talking about if that ball is caught between Happ, Swanson, and Shaw, over at third base. We'll talk about this later on, I know. But yes, I understand that part of it. But then are you having Keller go a second inning? Because then if that's the case, then it works out, because then you get Keller in the 7th and you go to the 8th and the 9th. But the problem then is that you're in a tie ball game. You're not losing the game. You're in a tie ball game, and you're going to throw Pearson. I'm sorry. I would rather lose on the hill with Eli Morgan, and it's not even close. It's not even close.
Yeah. And I will tell you this too. I would much rather have seen Ethan Roberts come in than either one of them. That's where I stand on it. All right. We're going to move over to that one big moment, and here we go. That one big moment was a pop-up between no man's land and left field. It was a 3-1 game in the 6th inning. And it was right after Brad Keller just come in, which, by the way, against a guy who is a former White Sox that just suddenly has learned how to hit righties like Babe Ruth, basically. It's Gavin Sheets. So getting him to pop up, wow, breath of relief. And then suddenly Ian Happ's looking at Dansby Swanson. Dansby Swanson's looking at Ian Happ. Matt Shaw's over there having cocktails in foul territory, and ball drops in. That started a series of unfortunate events that led to the Cubs giving up the lead and making it a 3-3 game. I will say this, Ty, it was before this play that it just looked like there was a couple times. I mean, this defense has been incredible. And I agree with what Boog said on the broadcast. This is a top 5 defense at the end of the year. No doubt about it. But when you are playing a team that has been 10-0 at home, now 11-0, is 13-3, now 14-3, you can't make these kinds of mistakes. You just can't do it. And so when Matt Shaw makes his error, when Michael Busch makes a great play but then can't finish it off, when you have moments like that, when Jameson Taillon is trying to battle it out with Manny Machado and then ends up walking him, a guy, Jameson Taillon, that just doesn't walk a lot of guys. These are all just opportunities that you give the Padres to creep back into this game. They're going to eventually take advantage of one of them, and this ended up being the play. So, what do you think of this play? What do you got to say about it?
So I'll say one thing. So the Cubs in general, Kyle, let me ask you a question. Have competed at a high level in for a majority of the time against the Diamondbacks, the Padres, and the Dodgers. 3 teams right now that are anticipated to be World Series contenders, not only playoff teams, but World Series contenders, right? So all 3 of those games, okay, all 3 of those teams, we've now played them we've had games in situations where we lost either on bullpen, defense, or base running. 3 key areas at this point that the Cubs have tried to identify and try to change. I would say mainly would be base running and defense, not their bullpen. I would 100% say the bullpen is the most atrocious part of this organization, and it's not even close to the other elements of their game. So the Cubs this year have definitely won more games on stolen bases and base running, okay? And also to their defense. Their defense has been outstanding. So looking at this moment right now where we're talking about where Shaw, Happ, and Swanson make that error. Yes, of course. I mean, we could have read it like a freaking book. It was, this is going to tumbleweed down. We're going to end up losing. What do we end up losing? 10-3. So 10-4, I would say that right now, yes, that's the biggest moment in this game. But this team has lost key games on parts of the game that just need to be executed at a higher level. Yeah. Seiya getting thrown out when he should have stayed at first base when Tucker was staying at third during the Dodgers game. Okay, the bullpen against the Diamondbacks, and now the defense, of course, is what actually doesn't work out for us in this game. So overall, right now, this team is not at a World Series contending level based on the fact that they lose these key games against these high-level teams at these key components of the game. I want to make that very clear for everyone that's listening here, and I sincerely appreciate, I can't see how many people are right now viewing on the screen, Kyle. I know we're not supposed to talk viewership on here and how well we're doing, but I will talk about this. I will say that the Cubs right now are so damn close to being great, to being a great organization. I mean, you're so damn close. Yeah. But these key parts of the game, you cannot lose at. Hopefully I answered your question there, Kyle.
You did. I think there's one thing that just comes to mind as well. Well, there's a lot of things that come to mind, but I think of the 2 Sunday games. And then I think of what was the game? You even mentioned it. It was today's game. These are the 3, the 2 Sunday games, the Padres and the Diamondbacks game, and then today's game. These are 3 games that even if you only won 2 of those 3, if just say one of them got away, this is a 13-16, and that's pretty dang good. But someone said in the comments, I want to address this really quickly. Christian, I think, said, when we have this kind of bullpen, how can we manage these late innings better in close games? Basically saying, like, what do you do with lemons? You can't really turn it into lemonade all the time. And all I would say to that is that's exactly why we hired Craig Counsell. That's, to me, why we hired Craig Counsell, because we're not supposed to have those answers, but he's supposed to. He should be the one looking at those things. And so I'm getting off of topic here, but I wanted to address that because that has been the issue. The bullpen game in Arizona is equivalent to today's game, in my opinion. You're mismanaging a bullpen at the late innings of a game. It leads to 2 different losses. It's frustrating, but had Happ just caught that ball, which, by the way, for those of you that didn't play baseball, that is Ian Happ's ball all day long. Dansby Swanson could have called that ball, but that is Ian Happ's ball. Anytime that those 3 converge, if 2 infielders and an outfielder converge, the outfielder always has the right of way. It is their priority on that ball. So Ian Happ, Gold Glover, should be catching that ball. I want to invite everyone to come chat with us in the comments. I've put the link to StreamYard. If you're new, you can come chat with us. You can come share your thoughts. We're going to get to that right now after this break. Setup Nation, I want to take a quick break so that you know how you can support our channel and wear some cool swag like this. We've teamed up with Obvious Shirts to give you a chance to have your very own Setup Man shirt or hat. Pick from 3 different types of shirts, or my personal favorite, the trucker hat. Go to the link in the description of this video and podcast to claim your Setup Man apparel. And thank you so much for supporting our channel. Okay, before we get to callers here, we do want to talk about our setup sins. What are setup sins? Well, they're just the major mistakes that you can't make if you want to win a ball game. Ty, you want to go over these?
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, number 1 overall, it even sucks talking about this, Kyle. It really does. We talk about bottom of the 6th. J-Mo comes off an 11-pitch walk. Okay, folks. So he comes off of a absolute battle against Manny Machado, both drafted in the same year. Obviously, a high-tension moment. We're up 3-1. Of course, it leads to a walk. It was an absolute battle. And then Keller comes in the game, Brad Keller, who has been absolute nails for us basically since Tokyo. And he gets Sheets to pop out between left field, third base, and short, of course, being Happ, Shaw, and Swanson. Immediately, Shaw seems to deviate away from the ball. It should have been Happ's ball all day. And, of course, that leads to a Bogart's walk, swinging bunt by Iglesias that ends up scoring a run. J-Hay, of course, singles to tie it, and then we ended up coming out of that inning 3-3, thankfully, with Keller hitting 100, which wanted to give a shout out to him, and then of course striking out Gonzalez to end the inning. But then of course the bottom of the 7th, man, this is a toss up between 1A 1B basically at this point. With there is the sin of Counsell putting in Pearson in my eyes. Of course, if you have any differentiating opinions, please join us here in the chat. But the bottom of the 7th, Nate Pearson is brought in, walks Tatis, and then if you want to go through all of the different situations throughout that inning, go through the MLB app because I'd rather not talk about it. And then Machado made an error in the 4th that led off of Justin Turner that ended up leading to a 2-run home run by Michael Busch, who has been absolutely on a hot streak here. But those are our setup sins for this evening.
All right, we're going to get to callers right now here on Thoughts in 30.
You suck! On your marks, get set, go!
Okay, it's Thoughts in 30, and we invite you, the fans, to come in and call and share your thoughts, your opinions, your questions. Obviously, it's past midnight over on the Central Time Zone, so we didn't expect a ton of people to come in tonight, but if it's just Jacob tonight, we're going to have some fun chatting with you, Jacob. And after 30 seconds, by the way, we will keep you in. We'll have a chance for you to react after we react. But we need you to get your first thought out within the first 30 seconds. That's the whole idea behind this. So here we go. And welcome in Jacob, a very common and returning caller. We love to see it. Thanks so much, Jacob, for being here, man. We are going to go ahead and start your 30 seconds right now.
This team infuriates me. This Craig Counsell as a manager might be on the same level as David Ross, if not lower at this point. Because here's the thing. You're going to bring Brad Keller in. Fine. Great. Have him go for more than one inning. He is a starter by trade. You go with, they had a pitch meeting with Tyone right after the 11-pitch walk. Which, by the way, Gavin Sheets and Xander Bogaerts did not look good against JMO their first two at-bats. Why not let him have a shot? And you're going to have Brad Keller come in, who, by the way, as far as I know, really only started throwing at the start of the Machado at-bat. It's not time.
It's infuriating. We're right there with you, man. I mean, what would be the perfect process tonight that you would have wanted to see from the time that Craig Counsell walked out there after JMO's 89th pitch? What would have been the perfect process in your eyes?
For him to about face and march right back into the dugout.
Okay, so you wanted to keep JMO in there, and assuming that JMO gets the next two outs without allowing any runs, who comes out in the seventh? You thinking Keller?
Yeah, I would have Keller, because here's the thing, as he's a starter by trade, and yes, he's been used as a bullpen arm, especially as of recently, but still, even as a bullpen arm, you want to come in with a clean inning, and you're going to have Keller come in rushed, as I'm 99% sure he was 100% rushed to get in that game, because you look at Counsell hesitated when Maya came in and did a pitch mound meeting. And then Counsell's like, come on, please say he's ready. Okay, he's ready. I guess we'll walk out and saunter out and get him in. But it should have been JMO, at least for Gavin Sheets, if not for the entire inning. If Gavin Sheets sits like a double down the line or whatever, then you have to reevaluate. But it just not good.
Not good, man. But hey, appreciate you always coming in and chatting up with us. Ty, you got anything to say to Jacob?
Yeah. First off, I just want to thank you, Jacob, because I know, like you mentioned, you're still in school, brother. So I sincerely appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us tonight. And I know that I would agree with you. Your mic is
yeah,
I think we're better
okay.
now. It's a little bit of feedback, but no, seriously, I was very frustrated at the beginning of the show just based on the fact of there has to be decisions made on the eye rather than the brain. And what I mean by that is that I understand that the brain is going to look at the numbers and look at all these situations and look how the game can be adjusted from there. Craig Counsell is a very, 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 very smart baseball mind. And that's why it's so infuriating to see him make a decision like this, is that you sit here and go, why are we all seeing it this way? Yep. And he does not see it that way. That's where I'm so frustrated by, man.
And this is putting the Cubs in a really bad spot, because we're supposed to be obviously contending. We're supposed to take the division. As of right now, I see we have to make 3 major moves. We have to get another starting pitcher. Steele's out. That's a given. You have to get another back-end bullpen, because at this point, I still don't trust Presley. Hodges looked better. Merriweather's looked good. Keller's looked pretty good. I don't trust Counsell to do anything right now. So you need to have another guy in the back end bullpen. You probably need another bat. Cubs lineup isn't going to be firing as, the best lineup, in the majors for 162 games and playoffs.
Yep.
Like, there were some decisions, like even during when the Cubs were extremely hot, which was literally just yesterday and beforehand, that I'm like, I don't know why Counsell will do that. Well, it didn't matter because the Cubs offense was like, okay, we'll put up 16 runs.
Yep. Absolutely.
It's not good.
Jacob, we appreciate you, man. We got one more caller, so we're going to give them some time. As always, thank you so much for jumping on. All right, we're going to go to Christian, and then we're going to wrap this thing up. Christian, first.
Hey there. I've been watching your channel for a minute now. Listen, I was dejected after the 6th inning, and I knew immediately that once we went to the bullpen, I wasn't upset that we put Brad Keller in. I was just upset that I knew where it was going from there. And it's more upsetting to me that we can't develop more relief pitchers. And a part of me wants to blame just the leadership, going into this, because it's like we lose one good starting pitcher. We lose, we're only like 1 or 2 injuries away from really just, being out of the playoffs. I mean, think about it, right? Pacoda put us at 90 wins. Yep. I mean, you look at like someone like Justin Steele, who could potentially be like a 6 wins above replacement type of pitcher.
Right.
And you're looking at where we stand, and if we can't figure out these little close games, right? We're not going to be able to make it. We're not going to be able to be playoff contenders like we want to be.
100%, man. And for me, and Ty, I'll let you respond too. For me, the number one thing is we do this every single year. Like, the bullpen figures it out by June, but then the offense is demoralized because the bullpen's been giving up so many leads. And then you find yourself having to go and find guys or ask for guys within the organization to be saviors. Can we not just figure this out before the season starts? And I don't know why the answer to that is no. I don't quite understand it.
I think I think a part of it might have to do with the money management issue. I mean, I think it's stuck in every Cubs fan mind when they were talking about breaking even. Excuse me, breaking even on what? What are you breaking even on? Like, you have like the 5th biggest franchise. And I was just talking to my buddy, he's a Rays fan, and he's like, I'm looking at his pitching staff, and I'm like, see, they pump out people like Tyler Glasnow. They got Shane Baz, and they're doing crazy stuff. I mean, we're going to be the equivalent of the Mariners, just with Gold Glove defense. We can do. We put traffic cones on the bump, and then we try to let the Gold Glove defense do all the work for people like Eli Morgan, Nate Pearson. Yeah. Ryan Presley, like, even talk about Dansby Swanson's Gold Glove play at third against the Diamondbacks. That was incredible. But like, you only get those every now and then. It's not an everyday thing.
Exactly. Well, Christian, thanks for calling in. Your first time call. We appreciate you. We'll hope to see you again on here, man. Have a great night.
Thank you.
All right, Ty. Tomorrow, I think you have to name this one a must-win if you really want the Cubs to come back 3-3 on this road trip. It's Shota Imanaga versus Randy Vasquez. And Vasquez, even though I don't know, the stuff didn't all that much impress me at Wrigley, but he's 1-1 with a 1.72 ERA. And Shota coming off one of his worst starts, I would say, as a Cub against the Rangers. So time for him to bounce back, and especially with the absence of Steele, I think this is a huge start for him to make a statement that the Cubs can survive without Steele.
Yeah, I was one of those people on Twitter that had mentioned that Shota Imanaga is our new ace. And this was, of course, prior to Steele's start against Texas Rangers, and, of course, the news that came out as of recent that we've discussed 100 times on the show, and everyone's heard about 1,000 times. So again, this is Shota Imanaga is a guy that at the end of the day has a stuff, and can he go out there and do it? And the fact is that Randy Vasquez, yes, looked pretty awful against the Cubs. He came out last time against the Athletics, 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, 1 earned, 3 walks, 1 strikeout in basically, where the Cubs put up about 300 runs in West Sacramento. So I foresee the Cubs definitely seeing this as a must win. But what I want to see is that I want to see this team come out. The issue that I'm going to have now, Kyle, I know we're going a little bit over time here, so I apologize, is that now we'll have all our arms available. Mm-hmm. This is the most must-win game of the high. Like, this is the must-win game of the year because of the fact of the situation that Council wanted to put us in here tonight. I foresee this being, that for us upcoming. And one other thing too, Kyle, before we log off here, I know we wanted to mention Chris Bryant as well.
Oh yeah, thank you. Just hope Chris Bryant is okay. Degenerative disc something, I can't remember right off the top of my head, but it's essentially lumbar disc, degenerative lumbar disc dysplasia, something to the effect of that. Essentially, he's got some lumbar situation with his back that is just going to create a lot of back problems, and I would assume this would really put him and his career, already injury riddled career, in jeopardy. Just hate to see it, man. I just hope the best for him. And at the end of the day, he's going to be fine in his personal life because he signed that big contract, but you just hate to see a guy fall from stardom the way that he did. And I just was hoping for any sort of, just recovery, coming back and finding a few good years left in that body. And it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen at this point. So I'm bummed. What about you?
Yeah, I don't want to carry on too long. It's a shame to watch one of the guys that changed the course of the Cubs history, and for somebody that changed really me as a Cub fan when it came to the situation of him throwing out the last out in the World Series and watching him have a decline like no other. And I promise you this was not his decision on any of the injuries or any of the decisions that have been made about him. And hey, people can look at it and say, hey, he took the money. Well, yeah, an organization, when they offer you $180 million freaking dollars, you're going to say yes, and you're going to go live in beautiful Colorado. And unfortunately, he's in a situation where it just didn't work out, because that's the way things go when you, unfortunately, with life. So.
All right. Same game time tomorrow, 6:40 p.m. here on the West Coast, 8:40 Central Time. And then we will be coming to you afterward with our post-game show. Thanks for joining us here for Ty Lewin. I'm Kyle Stanley. We're going to go put our arms on ice. We'll see you later, Setup Nation.